Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about under eye concealer and how to apply it and why you need it and all the little bits and bobs that I get asked all the time to do with under eye concealer. So as you can see, I just have my foundation on. I filled in my brows with our Easy Brow pencil in the shade Blonde, and then I have my natural lip liner and just some of our Rose lip balm on over it. I'm wearing Perfect Skin in shade 3.5 as well on my face, but as you can see, I have nothing around the eyes as yet because I never put foundation on the eye area for a couple of reasons. So foundation is a different consistency to under eye concealer. It's also a different tone to your concealer because what we're trying to cover on the eyes is different to what we're trying to cover on the face. So generally around your eyes, you're going to have like blue or purple dark circles. You can have redness around the eyes. So you want to try and lift that out and cancel out that blue or purple tone, which means if you are trying to cover redness on your face, you're going to use usually a foundation that has a little bit of a yellow undertone to neutralize redness, or you might just use a neutral one. So when we go to the under eyes, we need something with more of a pinky peach undertone to lift that blue and to cover it. The other thing is that your foundation tends to be a little bit more setting than your concealer. So what I mean by that is that it's a long wearing product that sets on the face. So you might feel that it's a little too heavy for around the eyes. And also if we do the one tone, so having the one color all over your face, you're not going to lift the eyes. Like you might cancel out a little bit of discoloration, but they're still going to look a little tired and drawn because you're not lifting them. And when we go with our concealer, I always suggest that you go no more than half a shade lighter than your foundation. Anything more than that, when you have fine lines and wrinkles like I do around the eyes, you're going to highlight the fine lines and wrinkles. So half a shade is the perfect amount to go, to just lift it and to brighten. And then also for us anyway, I created our Instant Under Eye Concealer purely out of frustration that I could not find a concealer for my clients or myself that would neutralize the colors, brighten the area, but be really hydrating and wouldn't crease or cake. So I wanted something that was really highly pigmented, but also really moisturizing, really hydrating for the skin, and that wouldn't move all day long. And as you can see, I always have redness and blue and dark around my eyes. It's just how my eyes are. It doesn't matter how much sleep I get or how relaxed I am, that is how they are. So I need it every day, and it's something that always makes me feel better. So I'm just going to show you the two different types as well that we have. So we have our Instant Under Eye Concealer pen, which is the original. So this pen comes with a little sponge top and then you twist it from below. I love this because it's really easy to apply. I'll just pop it on a little bit here. So really easy to apply, and it's really gentle on the skin as well. And so when you're applying it, you're going to apply to the inner corner, a little bit to the outer. Just going to pop a little bit more, a little bit to the outer, and then a small touch on the inner part of your lid, because that's where we pull a lot of discoloration. And that is more than enough concealer for anybody. You don't need any more than that. As you can see, I've gone down quite low here, so it means I'm going to blend the product up to under my lash line. And the reason for that is that I don't want any product kind of pooling underneath my lash line. It's unnecessary as well because the pigment is really, really high with the concealer. Then I'm going to take my concealer brush, which is a really soft synthetic brush, and I'm going to start tapping it in. So never rubbing, because we don't want to pull or drag at that area because the skin is so delicate around the eye that we want to protect it. So we're just bouncing the product in. Now, you'll see sometimes people using their fingers or, sponges to do this. Personally, I prefer the soft and synthetic brush because it's not going to grab any of your product. It's literally going to just press in what you have on the skin. I find when you're using your fingers, you're dragging half the product off your face, or equally with a sponge, you're not getting the same coverage as you would with your brush. So just tapping it in all over, but look at the difference already with that. Do you see how much brighter it is, and it's lifted, and it's a tiny amount of product. And because the Instant Under Eye Concealer is self-setting, you don't need to use powder around the area. I only ever suggest to use a touch of powder if you've got very oily lids or you've got oily skin. That's really the only time. But look at that difference. It's crazy. And then the other component we have is our little jar. So we did this one because we had a lot of people asking for something they could keep at home, and then they wanted their pens for their handbag. So this one comes with a gorgeous little doe foot. And again, using shade 3, I'm going to pop it onto the inside, a little bit on the outside, and then a touch to the inner corner of the eye. It's really down to your personal preference, which component you prefer. But this one has 12 mils and then your pen has 4.3. So like that, some people like the pen for on the move, and then really it's down to your application preference as well. So I'm just going to tap that in like I did the other one. So always starting down low and then pushing it up to underneath the lash line. This blends it and sets it as you go. And then I'm going to take it onto the lid as well. So we always go onto the lid because the lid tends to have quite a bit of discoloration and can be quite dark. And by doing this as well, if you're wearing eyeshadow, it's going to give you a gorgeous base for your shadow as well. So see the way we tap that in. And then it's cleared away any dark circles or redness around the eyes, and they feel much brighter, they look much brighter, and I'm ready then to go in and put on either my eyeshadow if I want to do eyeshadow, or I can go and just put mascara on now and be done. But I always do it, I tend to do it anyway when I have finished my foundation. I do my foundation first and then go in with my concealer. Now I might do it the other way around if I was going on a night out and I know I'm going to be using quite a bit of eyeshadow. So it just means that I can be kind of messy and do what I want, and then I can clean up afterwards without ruining my base. But as you can see, I don't have any blush or anything on yet. I do my concealer first. If I'm doing foundation first, then it'll be concealer. Then I'll go in with my blush and my other products. So that's it without any powder around it at all. But I do want to just show you what it looks like with a little bit of powder too. So I'm going to take my loose powder in the shade 2. I have quite a bit of tan on, so that's why I'm shade 2. If you're a bit paler, you can use shade 1. Or if you're a little darker, you can use shade 3. So I'm taking a tiny, tiny touch up onto my brush. And then I'm going to take all of that excess off into my hand. Like, you want to literally have nothing, the bare minimum left. I always say a silly small amount left on your brush. And then you're going to just tap that in again, starting low and really just going over from where the dark circle finishes and then bringing it up underneath the lash line. So you see the way it just neutralizes the little bit of line here where we still have that little bit of brightness. So if you want to flatten it out, that's what you're going to do. I know you see lots of this baking and stuff online and they put lots of powder underneath. But if you're over 40 like me, it just doesn't really work to look natural anymore. It's just going to make your under eyes look quite dry and heavy. So it's very, very different if you're doing it for camera and for, you know, if you're a celebrity and you're getting photographed, you might want to bake a little to make sure the skin looks completely flawless. But I'm always thinking of the day to day when you're out and about. How is it going to look in the daylight? How is it going to look in real life? And the less you use, the better. It's literally just a touch to knock back any shine. And then you can just tap it onto the lids as well. So I hope that's helpful. I'm going to go and finish my makeup and then I'll show you what it's like at the end. But I hope that was helpful. And like that, the shade that you use is super important, and the tone. So if you're unsure, please let us know in the comments below, ask us, or you can get in touch with us at our address at beauty@ayu.ie and we can help you shade match it, or obviously in one of our stores. But I'll go and finish the makeup and then I'll come back and I will show you what it's like all done. So that is my makeup all finished. And as you can see, I still have this lovely little bit of brightness around the eyes, but it's not heavy, it's not caked, and it definitely won't crease at all during the day. Just those little tips and techniques make such a difference. And then obviously having the right product for underneath the eyes. So I really hope that was helpful. If you do have any questions, let me know in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But otherwise, I will chat to you soon.